So, I will discuss now biological criminology. So, what is biological criminology? Biological criminology is purports that criminal behavior is the result of some flaw in biological makeup of the individual. Biological criminology, also known as biosocial criminology, is a study that explores the relationship between biology and criminal behavior. It suggests that biological factors such as genetics, brain structure and function, hormones and neurotransmitters can play a role predisposing individuals to criminal conduct. The physical flaw could be due to the following: A. Heredity, and B. Neurotransmitter dysfunction, and C. Brain abnormalities that were caused by either of the above improper development on trauma. Heredity is the transfer of genetic traits from parents to offspring, influencing family and generational similarities and variations. And neurotransmitters. Imbalances in neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine can affect mood and impulse control, potentially contributing to criminal behavior. This area of study explores the connection between neurotransmitter and function and criminal tendencies. Let's proceed to premodern biological theories on crime. So, number 1, physiognomy. Physiognomy is the study of facial features to infer a person, character, or personality traits. It's often considered as pseudoscience due to its lack of reliability and reliance on established methods of psychology and personal assessment which can accurately determine an individual's characters and behavior. And it was founded by J. Baptiste de la Porte. The physiognomist Johann Caspar Lavater was one of the first to suggest a link between facial features and crime. And the philosopher Jacob Price also suggested a link between crime and physical appearance when he published a criminal anthropology handbook in 1820. And let's proceed to number 2. Phrenology. Phrenology comes from Greek word mind and logos, knowledge. Phrenology, a 19th century pseudoscience, claim to determine a person's character, abilities, and personal traits by studying skull shape and bumps. It suggests that different brain areas were responsible for specific traits. However, modern neuroscience has shown the brain is more complex than phrenology suggested.
Now, let's proceed on modern biological theories of crime. Dito sa modern biological theories of crime, dito papasok yung positivist theory, which is the atavism or born criminal by Cesar Lombroso. Cesar Lombroso was the first to connect crime to human evolution. Si Cesar Lombroso, siya yung unang tao na nag-connect ng human evolution sa crime. Criminals are atavistic and throwbacks to an earlier, more primitive stage of human development. Sinasabi dito na ang mga kriminal ay nagpapakita ng pag-uugali or ugali that reminiscent of a more primitive era in human evolution. They closely resemble their ape-like ancestors in traits, abilities, and dispositions. Because criminals were not highly evolved, they possess stigmata or distinctive physical features such as asymmetrical face and enormous jaw, large or protruding ears, and receding chin. Ito yung mga katangian kung saan kapag meron ng isang tao, naniniwala si Cesar Lombroso na may taglay silang criminality or kung tawagin ay yung mga born criminals. Ito pa yung mga dagdag. Twisted nose, excessive cheekbones, long arms, excessive wrinkles on the skin, large jaw, tsaka large chin. Ang concept na to ay tinatawag ni Lombroso as anthropological criminology or criminal anthropology.
So now we're going to discuss about 2 studies relatives to criminal anthropology of Lombroso. So now we're going to discuss first about Charles Goring, which is Charles Goring. He was a pioneer in criminology and also author of the influential work, The English Convict, and it's called Statistical Study. And Charles Goring is born in January 31, 1870, and he is a British. And Charles Goring reported fairly sophisticated study of 3,000 prisoners with a history of long and frequent sentences and apparently non-criminals. And also, the prisoners were found to be inferior to the control group in terms of physical, size, and mental ability. Moreover, strong association between the criminality of children and their parents and between brothers were found. Goring therefore claimed that the primary source of criminal behavior is inherited characteristic rather than environment factors. Well, Lombroso findings were um, contradicted by Charles Goring, who found no evidence of physical type criminals. So now we're going to discuss Ernest Houghton. During the 1930s, he surveyed the American criminal population to attempt to determine whether criminal behavior might be linked to physical or racial factors. His two major works in this area are The American Criminal, year in 1939, and also The Crime and the Man, year in 1939 also. They are both that provoke considerable controversy, which is in his Crime and the Man in 1939 about his study of 14,000 prisoners and 13,000 non-prisoners. It shows that there is a link between criminality to organic inferiority. He supported the Nation of Born Criminals by Lombroso, but linked it to biological inferiority.
The three somatotype by Sheldon. Endomorphic, fat, soft, and round body types. Sila yung mga taong mataba, malambot, at bilugan na mga uri ng katawan ay karaniwang tumutukoy sa mga individual na may mas mataas na dami ng taba sa katawan. Number 2. Their personality was described as relaxed, fun, and eating, and sociable. Sila yung mga tao na may ilang particular na uri ng katawan na nagpapakita ng ilang particular na katangian ng personalidad tulad ng pagiging kalmado, mahilig kumain at sosyal. Number 3. Have wide waist and large bone structure. Sila yung mga tao na may malalawak na baywang at malaking istruktura ng buto ay may mga pisikal na katangian tulad ng mas malaking circumference ng baywang at mas malaking densidad ng buto. Number 4. Have a higher proportion of digestive tissue. Pagkakaroon ng individual na may mas mataas na proporsyon ng digestive tissue ay may mas malaking komposisyon ng katawan na kinakasangkutan ng mga tissue at organ na kasangkot sa proseso ng pagtunaw. Number 5. Have a biserotonic temperament. Sila yung mga tao na may pagkakaroon ng biserotonic temperament ay pagtalaga ng uri ng personalidad na naglalarawan bilang palakaibigan, madaling pakisamahan at komportabling kasama. 1. Body type is characterized by high rate of muscle growth. Ang mga mesomorph ay may mas mataas na rate ng pag-unlad ng kalamnan dahil sa genetika, mga antas ng hormone at metabolic rate. Meron silang natural na mas mataas na antas ng testosterone na nagbibigay daan sa mas mahusay na pagtugon sa mga pagsasanay sa lakas. Ectomorphic. Number 1. Long arms and legs. May mahabang braso at binti ay mga pisikal na katangian na may mas mahabang proporsyon ng mga paa kumpara sa laki ng katawan na kadalasang nauugnay sa mga particular na uri ng katawan. Number 2. Short upper body. Ang isang maikling itaas na katawan ay isang maliit na katawan na proportional na laki nito. Maaaring namamana ito o kulang sa nutrisyon. Number 3. Narrow shoulders. May makitid na balikat ay mga anatomical na katangian kung saan ang lapad ng balikat ng isang individual ay mas makitid kaysa sa kanilang kabuang sukat ng katawan. Number 4. Have a long and thin muscles. Meron silang mahaba at manipis na kalamnan ay mga pisikal na katangian na iimpluwensyahan ng genetika komposisyon ng katawan. Number 5. Have a very long fat storage. Meron silang imbakan ng mababang taba na tumutukoy sa mga individual na may natural na mas mababang porsyento ng taba sa katawan. Number 6. They are actually referred to as slim. Sila ay tinatawag na slim dahil sila ay payat o may pangangatawan sila na payat talaga.
So now we are discussing the XYY theory in criminology. Introduction. Criminology studies crime and its causes. The XYY theory explored genetics, specifically the XYY sex chromosome pattern, and its link to a criminal behavior. Understanding sex chromosomes. 1. XX found in biologically females carrying female development genes. 2. XY in the most males with the Y chromosome responsible for male physical traits, including testosterone production. The XYY theory, emerging in the 1960s, it suggests a connection between XYY chromosome and criminal tendencies due to increased testosterone. Discussion in criminology. Number 1. XYY syndrome. XYY syndrome occurs when males have an extra Y chromosome. Early findings suggested minor behavioral differences, but recent research question whether XYY alone causes with criminal behavior. 2. Scientific controversy. Highly debated in criminology and genetics. Experts now agree criminal behavior results from a complex interplay of genetic, environmental, and social factors. 3. Modern understanding. Criminology considers multiple factors like upbringing, environment, and genetics. Genetic determinism theories including XYY are largely discredited. Conclusion. Modern criminology emphasizes a holistic view, recognizing a criminal action as a complex interplay of genetics, environment, and social influences, moving beyond simplistic genetic explanation like the XYY theory.
Biological family studies on crime. Number 1. Jukes family tree. What is Jukes family tree? The study of Jukes family tree was a New York Hill family studied in the late 19th and early 20th century. This study are part of a series of other family studies, including the Caliphs, that were often quoted as arguments in support of eugenics, though the original Duke study by Richard L. Dugdale. Insanity. What is the insanity? The state of being seriously mentally illness or madness. B. Poverty. What is the meaning of poverty? The lack of adequate financial resources, such as the individuals, households, and entire communities don't have the means to subsist or acquire the basic for a flourishing life. Example, the state of being extremely poor. Poverty is the condition where the basic needs of a family, like food, shelter, clothing, and education, are not fulfilled. C. Intemperance. What is intemperance? Example of intemperance when someone isn't able to temper or moderate his actions, he is at risk of intemperance. Other term, your uncle showed intemperance when he yelled furiously at everyone around him every time he feels angry. D. Criminality. What is criminality? Behavior that is contrary to or forbidden by criminal law. Actual criminal characteristic of a person. The conduct of an offender that leads to the commission of an unlawful act. E. Idiocy. What is idiocy? The state or condition of being an idiot. Example, idiocy in extreme foolishness or stupidly. The view was expounded in The Jukes, a study in crime, pauperism, disease, and heredity, by Dugdale in 1875, who studied the family of Margaret at the Duke. This study was about a rural clan that over 7 generations produced 1,200 bastards, beggars, murderers, prostitutes, thieves, and syphilitics. The following are Dugdale's finding based from the Duke's family study. A. 300 died as paupers. B. 150 were criminals. C. 7 were murderers. D. 100 were drunkards. And E. More than half of the women were prostitutes. Note: Margaret Ada Duke is regarded as the mother of criminals. The second is Kalikak family tree. This study was made possible by Henry H. Goddard, a prominent American psychologist and eugenicist in the early 20th century, and was known especially for his 1912 work, The Kalikak Family, a study in the heredity of feeble-mindedness. And we will know Goddard developed the pseudonym Kalikak by combining a Greek root meaning beauty, kalos, with one meaning bad kak. Word is kakos. He also introduced the term moron.